Vijñāna-bhairava-tantra, verse 76, daily life practice number 2. This practice is open-eyed meditation on dappled light. Very lovely practice. I'll just read the verse first. Tejasa surya dipader akashe shavalikrite drishtir niveshya tatraiva swatmarupam prakashate. Let the gaze, drishti, come to rest on a space that is dappled with the light of the sun or a lamp or the like. In that very experience, the nature of one's innate being may manifest. So this is a very simple, beautiful practice, doesn't need much unpacking, right? So maybe you've had this experience, dappled light shining through, I don't know, Venetian blinds onto the floor, dappled light shining through the leaves of trees. That's, to me, one of the most beautiful forms of light. Dappled light on the bottom of the swimming pool, right? Or on the surface of some body of water, right? All these forms of dappled light provide this opportunity for beautiful open-eyed meditation where, again, like the previous verse, you do enter into a sort of liminal state with this practice because you're not going into a sort of deeply interiorized meditation where you let go of all sense objects, right? But you're also not doing some one-pointed focus like trataka on a candle flame or something. It's very much an in-between, right? So if you let the body be still and you simply rest the gaze, the drishti, on this area of dappled light, and that light is probably moving a bit, right? If it's sunlight through the leaves of the trees, that you just let your gaze be relatively still. And you become absorbed. You know, it's a little daydreamy, this particular condition, right? But you're also maintaining gentle mindfulness, right? So this is important that in the tantric tradition, we don't seek to go into trance states, except sometimes for specific reasons. But for the most part, we're gently avoiding a trance state, right? So there's a gentle mindfulness, but also a deep relaxation. So it is daydreamy, but with a gentle awareness that you are daydreamy, if you see what I mean. So it's sort of balance. It's balancing, again, it's liminal. Okay, so interestingly, in the previous verse, which is the practice of being in the liminal state between waking and sleeping, it said the supreme goddess, Paradevi, can manifest in that state, meaning a deeper or integral nature of consciousness. And here we get almost the same phrase, except one's own self. The nature of one's own self may manifest, right? We get the same verb, prakashate, may come to light, may shine forth, may manifest, right? So this does seem to imply that in the context that we mean the same thing when we say swatma rupa, the nature of one's own self, and when we say paradevi in this text, that we're talking actually ultimately about the same thing. That's not a thing, right? Which is to say the integral inherent nature of your consciousness itself. And we say your consciousness, but it's actually not personal to you. It's the consciousness of being that all beings experience. So there's that wonderful irony, that which is precisely most intimate to you is also that which is not yours, right? Which is equally everyone's. So swatmarupam prakashate, the nature of your innate being may manifest. Okay. So yeah, that's it. There is not. We're getting into these practices now that are um, that don't have kind of theological, intellectual, conceptual backgrounds to unpack. We had that earlier, remember, with some traditional tantric yoga practices. There's actually quite a rich, complex philosophy and worldview behind some of those practices. And that's what's so beautiful about this text is it's so varied. We get every kind of thing. we get these practices such as the Adwa Prakriya practice that requires a lot of background knowledge, and then these other practices that require none. There's nothing really to sort of understand here. It's just to do the practice, right? So what I invite when you do this practice is to make sure you relax your jaw, right? That's really crucial. That's part of what in Tantra is called Divya Karana, the divine posture, meaning basically correct meditation posture, that they really stress that the jaw needs to be relaxed, So we're not going again for this kind of concentration sort of thing, but resting attention, resting the gaze and resting the attention on whatever the object of meditation is, and gently keeping it there with the minimum effort necessary. Okay. So here that pattern of dappled light. And I invite you to explore different versions of this. I had once an incredible kind of version of this meditation with the light on the bottom of a swimming pool. It's just exquisite. It's a kind of what physicists call an interference pattern, right? And the light through the trees, of course, as well. So that's it for this verse. And this is a short video, and I want to take the opportunity to once again thank all the patrons on my Patreon page whose generous monthly support makes these live videos possible, these live courses, all this free content. There's now just a huge amount of free content in the Facebook group Tantric Yoga Now and on the YouTube channel that's again made possible by that support from the patrons. And it's really extraordinary because this is this has been going on only, I don't know, a year and a half or so. It's actually the first time in my life that I have sort of a consistent income instead of a wildly fluctuating income that most freelancers experience. And this also allows me to focus more on some book projects. And I now have 3 books in the works that will be coming out towards the end of next year, maybe middle of next year, end of next year, and the following year. I'm told I should space these books at least 6 months apart, even if they're ready sooner. So that's exciting. I love producing books, and all of you are a part of that because like one of these books is on the VBT, and it's through teaching and sharing these practices with you that I refine my translation. And your questions also and shares help me refine my translation. This is, after all, an experiential text primarily. And then another book will be on the sublime works by Abhinavagupta, the Tantra Sara and the Tantra Loka, and mostly on the Tantra Sara, and that I was teaching at length in the Patreon group. So again, it's this community of interested and thoughtful practitioners that you guys all are that are making these books much, much, much better than they otherwise would have been. So thank you for that. Om.